Thank you very much, everybody. I'm very grateful that you have invited me. I can see all my young and old comrades there from Guntur. Uh, I'm grateful to my friend Narendra Gudavli, my camera person at NDTV and a close friend, for having invited me to do this with all of you. I do have some link to Andhra because my column appears in one of the Andhra Jyoti papers, I think, every fortnight. It is translated in Telugu. So you may be reading it occasionally. I write it in Hindustan Times here in English, and it gets translated into Telugu by the Andhra Jyoti newspaper. So you come from a beautiful part of the world, and I'm very grateful that you have invited me here to talk about journalism today and tomorrow. You know, I started journalism in 1988. That was the year before the Berlin Wall collapsed. So the Cold War was still there. The Soviet Union was still there. Rajiv Gandhi was the Prime Minister of India. And even a computer had not yet fully come into our lives. So I started in a world where there was a typewriter. We would write our articles on typewriters. It would be corrected on sometimes we would handwrite it. Then the typist would type it. Corrections would be made. And the newspaper would come out on what we called on a hot bromide, which means that it was all manually done. There was nothing, there were no machines. It was all manual mainly. The articles, the way the newspaper was cut out was all done manually. Today, we are in an age where everything is almost done by a machine. We are in the age of AI, and AI is going to transform, artificial intelligence is going to transform all our lives. We are almost handing over the power to some engineer sitting somewhere who will decide whether your article will be carried or not. There is somebody out there sitting in San Francisco or some other part of the world who through a machine is virtually influencing our lives, because all these major uh, platforms like Facebook, like Twitter, like Instagram are all controlled in a way by algorithms devised by some engineer sitting in a third world who we don't even see. So from the world that I came out in, which was a world of the newspaper, where, to be very honest, there was nothing like breaking news. Please appreciate that I come from a world where in 1988-89, news was what you got with your cup of tea in the morning. You read your newspaper. If there was breaking news at 6 p.m. in the evening, you would get it only next morning at 6 a.m. Today, we are in the world of instant news, like instant coffee, where we are in a real-time world. You and I are speaking today real-time. Someone is recording me. You may even put out a WhatsApp message to all your WhatsApp groups. Rajdeep Sardesai is in conversation with us. And anything I say, which may be controversial, will immediately go viral if all of you spread it. So we are in a new world where concept of breaking news has broken down. And we are in a real-time world. When we were in 1988-89, at least when I set off in this journey of journalism, we could press the pause button. You could have a button called a pause button. Forget about rewind, fast forward. You could press the pause button. And you had time to think, to reflect, to analyze. Today, you don't have any such time. Today, we are in what I call the Usain Bolt era of journalism. What do I mean by Usain Bolt era of journalism? We are in an era where what matters is not who gets the news right, but who gets the news first. So we are in a race. And in this race that we find ourselves in, often my sense is and my fear is that truth loses out. Truth is a casualty of a race where everybody is trying to get the news first, not necessarily the news right. Because everyone is in a race for breaking news. I don't know about Telugu channels, but I'm going to tell you a wonderful story which will tell you about how the world has changed. In 1994, we were starting off on NDTV, and our channels, we were doing one program for Doordarshan called News Today. It was going to be a program shown on Doordarshan, half an hour program. Few hours before the program was to come on Doordarshan, we are told, Pranoy Roy was running NDTV at the time. Pranoy Roy gets a call from Prime Minister's office. Prime Minister's office had a good Andhra bidder. Andhra Gadu, Narasimha Rao ji was Prime Minister of India. And Narasimha Rao ji's office had a principal secretary, also an Andhraite, called PVRK Prasad. Mr. Prasad rings up Pranoy Roy and says, how come you are doing news program on Doordarshan? News is government monopoly. Only government will decide what can go on news, not any private person. So Dr. Pranoy Roy said, but we have a contract with Doordarshan for a half an hour program. It will be going today on DD2 at 9 p.m. We have called it News Today or News Tonight. No, this is very wrong, Mr. Dr. Pranoy Roy. We are cancelling. You cannot do this program. Now, we had invested a lot of money and put together this program. We had a contract for a full 1 year. So the good thing about bureaucrats is that they come up with problems, but they also sometimes give you solutions. So Mr. PVRK Prasad rings up Dr. Pranoy Roy after 1 hour and says, okay, we will allow you to have this program on Doordarshan, but there is a condition. The condition is that you will not call it a news program. You will call it a current affairs program. You cannot call it news. It will come under current affairs. So please change the program. So he said, sir, what do you want me to do? How do we change it now? No, instead of News Tonight, you call the program Tonight. I don't want to see the word news in it. So for the next few hours, we were removing the word news from wherever it was on the TV screen. Ladies and gentlemen, this is how the first private news program began in this country. Half an hour program had to change its name from News Tonight to Tonight because Government of India objected, saying news is a government monopoly. Only Doordarshan can do telecasting of news. Think about it, my friends. Today, in your own language of Telugu, there must be at least 20-25 news channels, 24/7. India has more than 400. Please remember this figure. India has more than 400 24/7 private news channels across different languages. And I'm not including cable channels. These are only satellite channels who have got licenses from Government of India. So in 1994, almost 30 years ago, when Narasimha Rao was Prime Minister, we had to remove the name news from a program which we were doing for Doordarshan. PVRK Prasad, bless his soul, I don't think is among us anymore. But I hope he was watching how in his own language of Telugu today there are more than 20 private news channels. This is how the world has changed. News, especially on television, was a government monopoly. In print, as I said, there was no breaking news. You gave your newspaper next morning at 6 or 7 in the morning. So this is the changing world which we have to reflect on. From the typewriter, where we had to type a story out, then that story would be processed manually, put on a hot bromide sheet, and a newspaper would be made. We are now in an age where every one of you who is watching this program, each and every one of you is a citizen journalist. Each of one of you can record on your mobile anything that is happening and put it on your own, put it out into the world, into this vast world out there of the web world. Each one of you, therefore, can share any information you have in any way you want. You have a mobile in your hand, the mobile gives you the power. You can use your mobile, just record any conversation and you can spread it among your friends. Each of us is a citizen journalist. That is the change that has taken place. This is a country now with more than 500 million smartphones, with data having become so cheap that each one of us today has the power to use video to transform the world around us. We are in an interconnected world, my friends. I will give you another story which I often tell. In 1993, a terrible earthquake took place in Latur in Maharashtra. 10,000 people died, more than 10,000 people. I was in the Mumbai bureau of the Times of India. Now, the challenge for us was, how do we tell the story of Latur? So we heard from somebody that an earthquake has taken place, but we had no idea what was the damage, nothing. No pictures. Please understand. All electricity connections, everything was off in Latur because of the earthquake. I, along with my camera person, we drove to Aurangabad, which is almost 9 or 10 hours away. From Aurangabad, we had to drive another 5 hours to reach Latur. All communication had broken down. When we reached there, we found an entire village called Killari had been flattened. All the people virtually were dead. My cameraman took some photos. I did a report. We came back to Aurangabad. In Aurangabad, we found one telex operator, and I had to dictate the story on the phone even as the phone was breaking down every now and then. My cameraman had to drive because there was no way he had to drive back to Mumbai. That means 48 hours after Latur, we were able to tell India that a Killari, a place, 10,000 people have died, an entire village has been flattened. Now imagine what would happen today. God forbid there was an earthquake in any part of India, from Sikkim to Kanyakumari. You can, in real time, people of that place will themselves put out the story and will show what is happening on the ground. And you can instantly thereby connect India. This is the advantage of the present world. You see, everything comes with advantage and disadvantages. Advantages, it can cut all geographical boundaries. Today, the distance between Guntur and Delhi can be reduced. Something happens in Guntur, I can instantly get it in Delhi via video, which I could not get 20, 25 years ago. On the other hand, because as I said earlier, we are all in the race to be first, not right. Is the information verified? Has anybody checked it? Is it correct? Who is there? We don't have any fact checkers. All kinds of facts are being put out on WhatsApp groups. Who checks them? I will give you another example. For the last 5 months, there has been violence in Manipur. Each of us knows about violence. More than 150 people have died. A few weeks ago, a video came out in Manipur. A video came out, which came on my WhatsApp, showing a young girl, semi-naked, being shot dead by someone. And they said this image is from Manipur. Immediately, I got the same message from 10 other people on different groups saying, sir, see what is happening in Manipur. The police have killed a person. That girl is semi-naked. She's on the street and a bullet has been put through her head. I was shocked because I asked somebody, is this happened in Manipur? They said, no, sir, there is violence, but we don't know of anywhere where somebody has been paraded naked and shot dead. Guess what had happened? This incident had happened in Myanmar, in Burma. In Burma, during the war there between two militias, a young woman had been shot dead by someone pointing a gun at her. But the way the video was sent out, it looked like it was happening in Manipur. Now imagine the impact that it will have on the people in Manipur and those outside. Imagine if I'm a Manipuri sitting in Mumbai or sitting in Guntur and I am sent this video on WhatsApp. My first reaction is anger. Do I verify the news? No. Do I share the video? Yes. And thereby, you are creating a possible situation of a riot. Please appreciate, today in Maharashtra, in the last 6 months, there have been small communal riots. that have been caused by unverified information. Someone puts out a video saying people in a particular area in Kolhapur are celebrating Tipu Sultan today. Nobody has verified the video. Or somebody has put out some video on Facebook in praise of Aurangzeb. Immediately, entire area of Kolhapur comes under curfew because there is protest from another community. Please understand what times in which we are living, my friends. We are living in times where unverified information can spark off a communal riot, can spark off violence. Fake videos can end up creating the trouble in any part of the country. Forget Manipur. Few years ago, there were riots in Muzaffarnagar, not very far away from Delhi. And videos were circulated about how Muslim groups were going around Muzaffarnagar killing people. Do you know where the videos were from my friends? They were from Afghanistan. Afghanistan videos of Taliban militia in beards were being passed off as if the videos are happening in Muzaffarnagar. Can you imagine the deadly impact this can have on average people? If we are going to use the new medium, if we are going to use new technology to spread lies, to divide, to spread hatred, then, my friends, we are entering a very dangerous territory. Because then, as I said, tomorrow a communal riot can be sparked up by what you and I say in a TV studio. And TV studios have become cockfights. I call it the Ravan school of journalism. Ravan school of journalism. We are heading into Diwali. What is the Ravan school of journalism? Let me tell you. There was a time, 20-25 years ago, when we would do TV studio discussions, we would have 2 or 3 people in a TV studio. Slowly the number went up to 4, then 6. Now, who knows, tomorrow you will have 100 faces, all in little boxes shouting at each other on a prime time TV show. And we will call it the Ravan school of journalism. Why is it done? Because people want drama. People don't want news. Not people, but those who are giving the news believe that people want drama, they don't want news. If I give news about farmer suicide, I think very few people will join, will watch the show. But if I give news about Hindu versus Muslim and show one Maulana and one Pandit fighting with each other, people will watch. See, if you are walking on the street in Guntur and everything is peaceful, you will just go by. But the moment you see a fight on the road, you will stop to watch. Arey, kaun lad raha hai? Ye ladai kya chal? Who is fighting? People want you to stop and watch their news. So they want tamasha. I come from Maharashtra. We have a dance form there called tamasha. Now we have converted that tamasha from dance form into a TV screen. Every day on some channel or the other, you will find somebody shouting with each other. We have even had people coming to blows, fisticuffs in a TV studio. Now, what is this but drama? But it is low-cost drama. It is entertainment. You don't need to go to watch a cinema. You can watch it on a TV screen. Now, from TV, we have moved to digital. The future is digital. Future is YouTube. Future is Instagram. But my question is, are we doing any verification of what you see on YouTube? Who is verifying it? It is a good revenue model now. A lot of people have lakhs of subscribers. But my question is, who is actually verifying what you are seeing on YouTube? That, to my mind, is the big challenge of news of tomorrow. The difference between the news of today and the news of tomorrow is, tomorrow you will get lots of news from lots of platforms. But who is going to verify that news, my friends? Who is going to, and there is also obsession with politics. Jagan Mohan Reddy versus Chandrababu Naidu will make headline news. But what about the story of farmer suicides? What about story about state of education in a state? What about stories that will be of positive stories? There is a lot of good news happening. People are doing good news also. People are making breakthroughs. Do we watch that? We only want bad news. And we have made our political news the very staple of our journalism. We are not doing news outside that politics. So when I look at Andhra Pradesh from Delhi, for me, Andhra Pradesh today is only about Jagan Mohan Reddy, Pawan Kalyan, and Chandrababu Naidu. What are the changes taking place in Andhra society? What are the positive changes taking place? What are the negative things happening? Has the problem of malnutrition been resolved? We are number 130 and counting on the World Global Hunger Index. How many stories have you seen in the media which are looking at the problem of malnourishment even today? Maybe a handful, but we are more than happy to talk about Babu versus Jagan. Kaun jeetega Andhra Pradesh? So you see, in a country of 1.4 billion people, our stories there are multiple stories. This is the greatest country in the world to do journalism. Why? Because no 2 days are the same. If you are doing journalism in England, you will only report on the weather. In India, every day is a new day. You will have something new to report on, something different happens in this country. But are we reporting it honestly, or are we only reporting what happens in and around Delhi? If there is a drain pipe leak in Noida, where our office is, we will make it breaking news. If there are floods in Guntur, unless 100 people die, it may not become breaking news. This is the problem, my friends. There is a tyranny of distance. Something happens out far away from Delhi. A young woman was tragically raped in Delhi. You will recall 10 years ago. The Nirbhaya case, it became known as. There were protests on the streets. Laws were changed. And people said we have to work for women's safety. Now, please understand, as per NCRB, National Crime Records Bureau, there is a sexual assault on a woman every 16 minutes. How many of them have been reported and made into big stories? Is it that a tribal woman is raped in Chhattisgarh? It will not become a big national headline? Is our news horizon only centered around what happens in the big cities? What happens in a Mumbai or a Delhi or a Hyderabad maybe at best? But what happens to a Guntur? What happens to a Salem? What happens to the number of small towns across this country where also news is happening? Unless we are willing to change the way we approach the news business, we will continue, in my view, friends, to struggle to deal with the challenges of our times. Technology is a great enabler, as I said. We have the power in our hands literally now through a mobile phone. We have the power through AI to be able to transform the way news is put out. But unless we are willing to change the way we have to recover. I keep saying there are 3 C's in journalism today: cricket, crime, cinema. We need another C. It is called conscience. Where is our conscience as journalists to tell the stories of all the people of this country? Not only a privileged few, not only a geographical one area. Unless we do that, the journalism of tomorrow will not match up to even the standards of yesterday. Forget about today. That, my friends, is the challenge of our times. That, my friends, is how we have to change the way this profession is done. Make it more meaningful. Use technology as an enabler, not as a divider. Think about it. Thank you, my friends.
మరిన్ని అప్డేట్స్ కోసం మా ఫోకస్ న్యూస్ తెలుగును సబ్స్క్రైబ్ చేయండి. ఈ వీడియో కనుక మీకు నచ్చినట్లయితే లైక్ చేయండి, షేర్ చేయండి. మీ విలువైన అభిప్రాయాలను కామెంట్ బాక్స్లో తెలియజేయండి.